I previously made this for myself. Looks like a log cabin. Just put it anywhere. Watch some videos while you're eating lunch or whatever. I made this without using any power tools. For this build I will be using power tools because I'm making it for someone else, and now I have power tools, or at least one. But it's definitely possible. I made this with very simple tools: a saw, a knife, a file. So what I will be doing now is, I've cut these pieces to length. The iPad is 26 centimeters wide, I believe, and I think it is 17 in height. So I'll basically do the same as with the small one, just on a bigger scale, and try and be more precise and thorough, as I'm making this for someone else. I'm basically removing anything that I think will fall off from just handling and use. Not a very involved or dramatic process. It's just cleanup. I'll take this down to the bench in the basement later for the more involved steps. But for now, I'm just gonna clean this up. Alright, so we're in the shop right now, or shop room. We're gonna try and plane these sanded pieces. This is all that we're gonna use. This little buddy here is gonna do the brunt of the work. Bit too much torque there. There we go. Just gonna get some of these screws. This doesn't have to be crazy because it's just gonna hold it for us while we plane. Too big. Just right. There we go, planing fixture done. Okay, so it's a couple days later, and I managed to complete the task of filing all the pieces. We're gonna glue them together like this, and since we're holding an iPad that weighs like 650 grams, I thought I would plug it in between the pieces. So what I've been doing is I've chucked them up in the screwdriver like this, and I've made my own little belt sander doohickey. The rounds that I'm using are actually from an old coat hanger. I didn't have any round that were 10 mil or smaller. So I'll be sanding these down, cutting them to length, and then joining the pieces together. So we're actually going to try and center up on this hole to fit the plug. It's not going to soft joints like that. This will never work. I'm gonna drill like a 3mm hole in the middle here to be able to sink this down, and then we can mark the piece going on top of it. Perfectly uncentered, great, just what I was going for. But we have a screw sitting in kind of the center of the hole, which was what I was going for. Here we go. Gonna mark this piece. There we go. Solid drill mark. Perfect. Jeez Louise, this thing is gonna be unbreakable. Am I getting this out? Probably not. Then let's press it in further. Oh yeah. Dude, it's in there. I'm gonna shorten the plug. I'll just keep doing this and get back to you when I have something new. ADHD wouldn't let me calm down, so I had a little session. I actually glued and screwed most of the pieces without you. I'm sorry. So deeply counterbore screws. So it goes through this one, and this, and connects to this one. I recently glued this piece to this piece. And I used the same technique for all the other ones as well. We can should actually be able to glue and screwed. Looks really nice with the old twig stumps on the back, I think. So I'm going to glue and screw this right now, and then the back plate will be essentially done. So kind of important to remember these two holes, so that I'll put, because I'm gonna screw this down, or am I? It's gonna look super pretty if it's just glue, and I'm too lazy to like do plugs like I did with the bottom pieces. I should do plugs, but it would be nice to use these black screws countersunk in here. That would look like a product, but they're like, you can, I don't know, they're so freaking gone. they're just gonna go down to fucking Atlantis. These just aren't as pretty. But what the heck. We'll glue them, countersink them, and screw them in, and then I can sleep like a child, knowing that tomorrow we can start doing the legs, or struts, supports, whatever you want to call it. I'll do it there. Yeah, that should be safe. There and there. And the outmost edges. Yeah, I might want to tease that now actually. After this, I'm going to be building a universal multi-articulating arm, so I don't have to hold my phone while lying in bed. I can just lay down flat and stare straight up and watch my own videos. No, I'm kidding, but not really kidding. You get the idea. It's gonna be great. Keep a lookout. Coming to a channel near you. This one. Okay. Time for some amateuristic, unsafe drilling. What do you say? Bet you can't contain yourself for that. Ew. Spicy, spicy. And then just drill like you mean it. It's connected, all the pieces, the back plate is done. It can actually stand on its own, hard to show. What I will be doing now is the struts that are going to come out like this, so that the iPad has something to rest on. And I've been making a test piece of a joint system that I think will work really well. So I cut the branch diagonally, and then I carved it square. So the plan is to drill a hole in this and file it square, so that it will accept these. So this is what will be going on inside, and then I will glue them together like this, because I don't want to make a huge, what is this, 14mm hole in this. So I'll make a smaller one, file it square, and then this joint will probably be strong enough to support the iPad. I'm done with the first test leg support, and it seems to work just fine. This is the joint I was talking about. The hole was filed square, and that's the other half of the joint. See if I can get it out. And it looks like this. And what happens inside there, they connect like this. So this goes here, and the other one. I'll be making this again, because as you can see on this piece, it doesn't account for the curvature on the segments, so it won't be an invisible joint, which I would very much like it to be. Same goes for this one. Not as important on the back side, but still I want to keep it clean. So what I'll be doing is I'll be making new supports from these two pieces, and they're gonna be the final supports. I successfully glued all the pieces together without showing it, but and I tried a different technique to join the struts, which I abandoned, as you can see, and I have dislodged or broke off the bottom piece, because what I'm gonna do is I will take the Dremel and grind out slots for the struts, and then I'm gonna glue it back together using the same technique as with the small one. At first I wanted to make smaller holes and then cut these down to a smaller diameter, and then cut them in two and make them join up in this smaller diameter hole that I showed, but ended up not working out because I didn't want to have to do this big of stock removal from the material as I'm gonna do now. You see, this hole is much smaller than what this will end up being, so I tried to take a shortcut there, but it bit me in the ass, so I'm gonna do it proper now, and hopefully we will end up with something a little like this, but much larger.
I'm done dremeling the reliefs for the struts. So they're gonna go like this. We have a huge version of this. I'm gonna pre-drill and screw in 2 screws here, and of course we're gonna glue it first. It's a lot of imagining and fitting, and before you actually can spring to action and do something. The old hole is like straight down here, and then the screw will be visible through this relief that I made, because I messed up and I made the top one too wide. So I think I'll have to pre-drill at an angle so that the screw won't be visible. So it will go like this through this one. So I have... Whoa, Jesus. I have glued the struts into their locations just to keep them in place, more or less, for when I go to drill, pre-drill through this hole, through this strut, to then screw through that hole into here, because this piece goes like this. You can't see it because of the clamp, but yeah, they were much too hard to like hold. There were too many things to hold at the same time, so I'm gluing these just to make them easier to work with. The stand is somewhat together now. This is the general look of it. As you can see, the farthest strut is not touching, but this is. And also it has a sideways rock. Tape some sandpaper to this board, and I'm gonna sand it like this until I'm satisfied. I cheated and started without you to make the divots for the iPad. Works. Just gotta do more. Test for flatness using a digital bubble level. taped up the phone to the cutting board using a digital. Shit, we're pretty damn near straight. Half a degree tilted that way. I think that'll be good enough. So time to trim the ends, dust it off, put some beeswax on it, and we'll be finished. There we are. Får jag låna din dator lite? Thanks, honey. Not a sponsor. Looks good. Damn. Time for beeswax. Some filing first on beeswax.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more, because I intend on making more projects like this, like the arm I was talking about. A little sneak peek. I'll be completing this project, so if you want to see that, subscribe and hit the bell and stay tuned.